this is a very important recording for me. It's probably represents the sort of summit of anything a leader singer would want to do. I mean, and it's an extraordinary piece from that point of view because it comes out of nowhere, and it's in the sense that Schubert suddenly wrote a song cycle an hour and 10 minutes long on a very difficult theme, I mean, without a story. And it's challenging from that point of view, but also a great thing to do. There's a journey, but it's very its meaning is sort of hidden and very open to interpretation, and I think it's important to keep it that way. And I think Schubert sort of made it more mysterious in a way by juggling the poems up. I mean, he wrote the first 12 songs as a song cycle in the order that he discovered them in a magazine. Then he found the rest of the poems, and instead of going back and reinterpolating the poems from the poet's order, he just went on and set the poems, picking them out one by one, and then reversed the order of 2 of them because he obviously thought musically it would be better to have a short, fast song at a certain point in the cycle.
Fliegt der Schnee mir ins Gesicht, schütt ich ihn herunter. Wenn mein Herz im Busen spricht, sing ich hell und munter.
Leif Ove is often my conscience because I don't have the score in front of me, and so very often I'm doing something really willful with the actual text, and that's in some ways I've moved much more towards. I think Leif Ove is also more. I think maybe your view of Schubert is more classical and mine is more romantic. Is that fair? And that we've moved together in it, or is that not true?
Not really fair, I hope, but.
Okay, cut.
Höre nicht, was es mir sagt, habe keine Ohren. Fühle nicht, was es mir klagt, klagen ist für Toren. Lustig in die Welt hinein, gegen Wind und Wetter. Will kein Gott auf Erden sein, sind wir selber Götter.
We first performed Winterreise, I think, 2001?
Is it really that recently?
Or 2000, I can't remember. 2 concerts in Italy, I remember very well.
Yes,
and then it was a long gap before we did it next time, like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And then we have done it, I think probably like 10 or 12 times altogether, now before the recording. Yeah. And we have plans to do it another 10 times.
Will kein Gott auf Erden sein, sind wir selber Götter.
What is so amazing, I mean, with Winterreise is that it's basically also for a pianist the longest piece of music you can play in a concert. I mean, it's 75 minutes and there is no sonata, no piano concerto, nothing, which is so long. And it does feel like a continuous piece of music, even if there are 24 songs. So I often have this feeling the last 20 minutes of the cycle that I lose track of time, that I lose myself. I get so absorbed by the music, by the storytelling. Also because it's such an amazing composition.
Was vermeid ich denn die Wege, wo die anderen Wanderer gehen. Suche mir versteckte Stege durch verschneite Felsenhöhen. Suche mir versteckte Stege durch verschneite Felsenhöhen, durch Felsenhöhen.
I think it's often going, I mean, most often going to be different roles. I think Ian is more aware of the mood changes of the text. On the other hand, maybe I'm then even more aware of the musical text sometimes, the actual the notes, the dynamics and things like this. Because I'm often setting the musical mood for the storytelling, so to say.
And there's something in the musical mood that is separate from the text. I mean,
yeah,
the music stands on its own and has its own meaning, which you can't actually give in words. And I mean, one of the things one's always trying to do is to bring the two things together, but sometimes they actually remain resolutely apart.
Auf einen toten Acker hat mich mein Weg gebracht. Allhier will ich einkehren, hab ich bei mir gedacht.
I still think it's very mysterious because people try and come up with a meaning and say, oh, well, it's about, at the end, it's about death, or Der Leiermann is death. And I think there are all sorts of references bound up there. And obviously one thing that's very important at the end of the cycle is that the protagonist turns to a musician and says, is this to be my fate? And it's Schubert's rather bleak view of his own life as a musician, as somebody who is barefoot and alone and alienated from society. And I suppose Schubert at the end of his life felt himself, at least intermittently, to be like that.
Drüben hinterm Dorfe steht ein Leiermann.
Because it's such an enormous sort of Everest of the repertoire, one could have gone into it feeling really intimidated, but actually it's been very, very relaxed working process. Though strangely at the end sort of not exhilarating.
Barfuß auf dem Eise wankt hin und her.
It's not exactly anti-climax, but I suppose it's a piece, if you do it in order, it ends in such a sort of bleak way. Well, not bleak, it's not necessarily bleak, but it certainly ends in such a bare way.
yeah.
And you miss the adrenaline, I suppose, of a concert.
Und sein kleiner Teller bleibt ihm immer
We have worked so that we have recorded a group of songs. We haven't so much only recorded one song at a time, because it really is a cycle, and it's very important that one song comes out of the previous one. And so, for example, the last songs we did 5 in a row, because it's almost impossible to imagine the last song just doing that on its own, for example.